All right, everyone, it is 2 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I recognize we may have some individuals still joining us, but that's all right. This session is going to be recorded and available as well to watch after the fact. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is AJ Evanish. I'm a senior project manager at KMSI, and I also manage our simulation development team. Today, we're going to be discussing how to conduct instructor-led simulations in a virtual training environment. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank all of you that are in attendance today. So whether that's via KMX Direct, via live stream, or those viewing the recorded session, we just appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with us. Note that Jack Lee, the CEO of KMSI, he's also in attendance today, and he's going to be helping me out. So Kira is another one of my team members that is here with us as well. So if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to use the chat room function. You can ask some questions, and Jack, Kira, or myself will be happy to help you out. So with that, let's get started. So let's talk about the evolution of training simulations. They were originally implemented using actual physical equipment, and they relied heavily upon one-on-one instruction. The problem is that using physical equipment is tough because, well, one, it's expensive, and it also has to be maintained. So plus you need a physical learning environment. So that kind of led to some video-based simulations like DVDs, but these were really limited in their flexibility and their ability to provide student feedback. Plus, it still required some physical media that had to be distributed. The industry then developed multiple technology standards that were focused on a particular type of skill accomplishment. Looking at early internet-based simulations, these were really limited by bandwidth. Plus, the availability of input device technologies that we use today, well, they just simply didn't exist then. Since then, new technologies have drastically improved the ability to deliver meeting room simulations, plus provide the additional benefit of enabling one-on-one coaching with team collaboration. So if we look at the equipment integration model, we can agree that many tasks still require a hands-on skill attainment, but training simulators provide a cheaper and far less dangerous environment for learners to make mistakes before performing the actual job. So I'm sure we can easily imagine a scenario where with equipment in manufacturing, let's say. So think of an assembly line worker where the worker's task involves using dangerous equipment. A good example is actually a simulation that we previously developed for the handling and disposal of dangerous materials. It's kind of depicted in the image that you see here. So the simulation-based model allows a student to learn and practice these tasks in a much safer environment. Shifting to on-screen simulations, one simulation we developed a while back was called the Stroke Scale Program, which actually became the standard for NIH's, or the National Institute of Health's, evaluation of physical readiness, or physician readiness, excuse me. It was basically a series of videos where the doctor would watch and then determine the next step in patient care based on the examination and patient response to stimuli. It's actually still used today. We now have several hundred hours of web-based training simulations under our belt, so we understand the benefits of implementing these types of programs. I think the key takeaway here is that simulation-based training applies to virtually any industry. Retail industry could rely on simulation training for point-of-sale systems. Call center associates could learn how to appropriately field customer calls. And a technician in the automotive industry can learn how to perform a specific repair. So you can see that the options here are really kind of endless when it comes to simulation-based training. Now let's talk about how simulation and web conferencing technologies have ultimately converged, which is exactly what we're leveraging today, and that's KMX Live. So it's obviously appropriate for virtual training environments, but it also provides referenceable blended learning elements. For an example, as an instructor, I can push content to you for completion, but anything that's pushed live can also be available on demand within the course outline. So the material is equally referenceable live as it is recorded. Using this model, we can keep students engaged and ensure participation. Any content that's pushed enables individual students' grade and progress tracking. So really, it's not just a matter of me sharing my screen. Rather, the student participation directly reflects completion within their personal gradebook. You can also leverage competitive exercises. one of the functions of KMX Live is that we offer breakout rooms. So I could take this class that we have today, divvy you into 2 different breakout rooms, and then push a simulation to both groups. From that, then I could basically rate the performance of each group to determine the winner based on their rate of completion time or the number of mistakes that they made along the way. The availability of lab-based facilities and testing facilities is really limited, and that's especially true today. So leveraging virtual proctoring can significantly reduce the expense and time to productivity for workers. So not only could I host a virtually proctored exam through KMX Live, but I could also push an instructor-led simulation to a virtual classroom of learners. And that's exactly what I'm actually going to show you guys next. So at KMSI, we highlight a few different quote unquote modes of simulations, right? We have teach me, guide me, and test me. So in the teach me mode, I, as the instructor, provide coaching as the simulation interactively shows the learner how to accomplish the task. So in just a minute here, I'm actually going to push a basic simulation to all of you that you'll be able to interact with. The simulations I'm about to show provide basic instruction on a few tasks within the interface of KMX Live. Note that there's no audio or visual cues in this mode because the intent is that I, as the instructor, am providing the instructions to you as a guided approach. So I'm going to go ahead and push off the first mode of training to you. So momentarily you'll see your screen shift, and you will you should see an introduction screen with a start button display on your screen momentarily. So once that screen appears, I want everybody to go ahead and click the start button so we can kind of all start the session together. I'll just give it one more minute for everyone to get started here. All right, so you'll see a little notice on the first screen. Obviously, the instructions are intended to be provided by me, the instructor, so there's going to be no visual or audio cues along the way. So to get started here, you've just started a KMX Live session as an instructor, AJ Evanish, aka me, and you've asked Kira to assist you. She's currently logged in as a student. Promote her to a moderator by clicking on her name. So everyone go ahead and just click on Kira's name in the upper left corner. Notice if you get the question or click incorrectly, you're going to receive an incorrect response. The next step is to click Promote to Moderator. So you can click Promote to Moderator. Now Kira is a moderator and she can enable her microphone to assist with dialogue, but you'd like for her to control the slide deck. Start by clicking on her name again. So we're going to click Kira's name. And lastly, we want to click Make Her Presenter. And you'll receive a little congratulations message that you've successfully promoted Kira to a moderator and presenter. Okay, now in the next mode of training I want to discuss is the Guide Me mode. So in this mode, the learner must accomplish the task by themselves. So in this case, I'm going to push content out to you. However, I'm not going to be providing any type of cues along the way. Rather, the cues are going to be coming from the content itself. So I've actually gone ahead and just pushed that out to you. It'll appear momentarily. You'll receive that same introduction screen that you saw just a few minutes ago, and you can click the start button when you're ready to go. So in this case, you have 3 attempts per slide to answer the question correctly. But on the third incorrect attempt, you will be shown the answer to move forward. So I'm going to give everyone just a few minutes to interact with that, and then I will go ahead and push the next mode to you. All right, so I'm sure you got through that pretty quickly as it's just a few steps. So lastly, we have the Test Me mode. And Test Me mode is very similar to what you just completed again, but your attempts are limited. So rather than giving you 3 attempts and then showing you the answer on the last failed attempt, in this case, it will result in a failure of the simulation. So the idea being here is that we can actually gauge a student's knowledge of a given subject, test them on their ability to get through a simulation, and with that, we have a lot of tracking to determine where the student was stuck in the simulation. So we can determine sticking points and find gaps in training where we can help assist our end users. So I'll give you just a couple minutes to test that as well. I push that new content out to you. And then when we're done, I'll pull you back in the room again. All right, so you should be back on your screen, home screen with me here. So technology advancements have really provided a ton of new possibilities to improve skill simulation training programs. So they're more accessible and more affordable than ever before. So it's really kind of a great time for organizations to leverage these types of technologies. We have seen that clients using these technologies have reported significant improvements in employee performance, as well as reduction in total training time. So improved customer satisfaction is also a direct result. While we agree that simulations can never fully replace experience, they can now be delivered better than ever and include instructor participation while using web conferencing technologies. Again, just like we did here today with KMX Live. So with that, I just want to leave a few minutes at the end for anyone who would like to ask any questions. And then if not, we will just wrap for the day. And Jack, if you want to hop in as well, if anyone has any comments, or Jack, if you have any follow-up comments to provide as well.
Hi, AJ, this is Jack. As
Hey,
far
Jack.
as using these type of simulations to teach people equipment operation or other types of skills, the simulations that your team has built work pretty much the same, regardless of the user environment. Do you see those working well in this environment as well?
Absolutely. I think this is, combining the simulations developed with the ability of including an instructor like this to provide, more of a, hands-on style approach virtually is really would be a huge benefit to pushing simulation-based training out to your end users. All right. Well, with that, again, I just appreciate everyone joining today. Thanks for watching the session as well. If you are tuning into our recording, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, Jack, or any one of our team members. We'd be happy to assist you. Have a great day, everyone.